Infor factory track for CSI, start just-in-time and end just-in-time. To report time and quantities to just-in-time production orders, the start just-in-time form and the end just-in-time form are used. These can only be used if time track is not implemented. Factory track has several just-in-time parameters to control the validations, displayed fields and processing options that are permitted as part of the end just-in-time process. These are defined on the transaction set parameters form for the shop floor end just-in-time transaction. For this training, we've enabled these parameters in order to show where those fields appear in the transaction steps. The Allow Cross-Docking feature also requires the configuration of the CSI cross-docking parameters. The Kanban auto-delivery also requires the configuration and generation of Kanbans with the requested status. Note that this transaction can support label printing by clicking on the label print parameters to define your configurations. If enabled, the label printing form is displayed following completion of the just-in-time transaction. To start the start just-in-time and end just-in-time processes, from the factory track shop floor's work center navigation homepage, click on the labor category group menu. Use the navigation buttons to scroll through the features as needed. Then click on the start just-in-time or the end just-in-time icon. Note that the order of the features within the labor menu is configurable. To start just-in-time activities, the shop floor start just-in-time form is used. Enter or select from drop-down the standard item and the work center. Factory track provides additional associated information under the Details tab as data is provided. Click on the Submit button to start the just-in-time transaction, or the Close button to navigate back to the Work Center navigation homepage without starting the transaction. To stop just-in-time labor activities, the shop floor end just-in-time form is used. The basic processing steps without Kanban replenishment are as follows. When this form is opened from the homepage, Factory track pulls the active just-in-time labor record for the employee. If no start just-in-time labor record was found, an error is provided. Factory track displays the item. We can then enter, scan or select from drop-down the warehouse ID. This may be defaulted based on the user configurations. Enter, scan or select from drop-down the location. Factory track pre-fills this location if a receiving location is defined on the transaction set maintenance form for the put-away group. Enter, scan or select your shift. This may be defaulted to the employee's shift. Enter, scan or select your work center. This is defaulted based on the work center provided during the start transaction. Select the two container checkbox if the items reported to be placed into a container. This selection results in display of the container field as well. Note that this is only available if the containers in use global parameter is enabled. This can also be defaulted if the default container parameter is enabled on the transaction set maintenance. Enter, scan or select from drop-down the container ID or leave the field blank for factory track to generate a new container ID. Enter the quantity completed. Enter or select from drop-down the unit of measure for the quantity defined. This is defaulted based on the item's definition. Factory track validates whether backflush lots or serials are needed for the item once the quantity is provided and enables them accordingly. Click on the backflush lot button to select the backflush items and the associated lot to assign to it. Select the backflush item and then select the lot to be assigned. Factory track updates the selected quantity to the target quantity or to quantity available towards the targeted quantity. Click on the backflush serials button to select the backflush items and the associated serial to assign to it. Select the backflush serial item and then either manually select the serials individually or click on the select range to have factory track select the serials to meet the targeted quantity. Factory track provides additional information under the Details tab as data is provided. If the item is lot and/or serial controlled, the Lot and Serial tab is enabled. Enter, scan or select from drop-down the lot ID or leave the field blank to have factory track generate a new lot ID. The unassigned serials displays the number of items still requiring serial assignment. Click on the Serial Assignment button to enter, scan or have serial numbers generated to assign to the items. Once all serials have been assigned, click on the Submit button to stop the just-in-time transaction. If the transaction set maintenance label printing parameters have been enabled for quiet mode, labels are now printed automatically, or Factory Track navigates the label printing form for manual printing. If the cross-docking parameters have been configured, the transaction set maintenance allow cross-docking parameter is enabled and the item has an open order. Factory Track provides the option to proceed with cross-docking. Click on the Close button to navigate back to the Work Center navigation homepage without stopping the transaction. To stop just-in-time labor activities with Kanban auto delivery, the following steps are followed. Factory Track displays the item previously started. Enter, scan, or select from drop-down the warehouse. This may be defaulted based on the user configurations. When the Kanban auto delivery parameter is enabled and the item warehouse associated to a requested Kanban, the Kanban field is enabled. Enter, scan, or select from drop-down the Kanban ID to be replenished. Factory Track defaults the location based on the Kanban ID provided. Enter, scan, or select your shift. This may be defaulted to the employee's shift. Enter, scan, or select your work center. This is defaulted based on the work center provided during the start transaction. Enter the quantity completed. Factory Track defaults this based on the Kanban ID's defined quantity. Enter or select from drop-down the units and measure for the quantity defined. This is defaulted based on the item's definition. Factory Track provides additional associated information under the Details tab as data is provided. Click on the Submit button to stop the just-in-time transaction. If the transaction set maintenance label printing parameters have been enabled for quiet mode, labels are printed automatically, or Factory Track navigates the label printing form for manual printing. If the cross-docking parameters have been configured, the transaction set maintenance allow cross-docking transaction parameter is enabled and the item has an open order. Factory Track provides the option to proceed with cross-docking. Click on the Close button to navigate back to the Work Center navigation homepage without stopping the transaction.